We are talking souls, soul consciousness, and soul polarity today. This is all within the lens of galactic astrology. My name is Cassia. I am a galactic astrologer. Thank you for joining me today. So we are starting with the universe, the galaxy that we live in. It is created with ones and zeros. We live in a binary universe that is created by soul consciousness coming together, these ones and zeros coming together and creating little soul babies, soul consciousness. So they are creating the rest of the universe. So these two consciousnesses, these fractals of the source of all creation, the one and the zero, got together, made soul babies, and created the galaxy that we live in. So everything in this galaxy is consciousness. Everything in this galaxy has a vibration, has a frequency, and it is consciousness. So it is alive. Now, as we are transitioning from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, right on cue, you see she's showing up today. Yes, I do hear you, big kitty. It's not your time. So we have soul consciousness, ones and zeros in the galaxy, creating other souls. So this is how our galaxy was made. The planets, the plasma, the consciousness, all of the elements of our galaxy are alive, are consciousness, are living. And the way that they react to each other is based on their polarity, their soul polarity. So the male soul has a lens of self. The female soul has lens of others. So all the soul consciousness, it is interacting with other soul consciousnesses based on its polarity. So everything in the galaxy is noticing everything else that's around by the polarity that it has. So it's going, so every item, every energetic item is noticing the polarity of other energetic items in its field and how they are reacting to each energetic item. So that's when we have our stars, our planets, all of these things that have been created have male and female polarity. Excuse me. And that's how we are acting and interacting with all of these other things throughout our universe. So it gets very exciting. So when we get into our natal charts, now this is where you start to understand how I'm tying this in with astrology. When we get into our soul charts, we understand that this soul chart that we have, and you could just place it right here, these are your default settings. And each of these settings is a soul. So each of these houses in your natal chart, in your soul chart, have a polarity. It's either male or female polarity. And that's it. And so that is how you are interacting with other people and your world. So let's say in your soul hive, you have in the second house, you have a male polarity soul. And that soul is for resources, and you have the lens of self. Now, how are you going to treat resources? They're yours. How you treat them is how you feel about them, not what other people are thinking and feeling about your resources, because that's a lens of self in that house. And so that's how you're treating your resources. And so all of these fractals, each of these pieces of, and they are all fractals of source. We are all fractals of the source of all creation. I talk about that in some of my other videos. So all of these pieces of fractals of source have a polarity of male and female. And this is how we perceive our world. We perceive our world based on the polarity of the things around us, how they are treating us, how we're treating it, what we are expecting from the polarity of this soul. What are we expecting these things to happen? How is this happening? That's all due to the polarity of the souls in your soul hive. So when you have a mixed polarity, now some people have, let's say there's men with all male soul hives. So you can imagine what those men are like. Those are the highly masculine men. They're builders, they're creators, they do for themselves. So they can build and create this amazing life for themselves because it's what they want. It's what they want, it's how they want, and they're able to make that happen because it's from their lens. It's from their lens of what they need to do and how they need to do it. And they will build their lives fantastically. Those men are called pillars. I talk about that a lot. So those men have this soul structure that's all male. So they have so much structure and support But now, are those easy men to be around? No, those men are for men. Those men are for men, and men alone, except for their partners, who bring in the female, the feminine. Everything that these men are not shows up in their female partner, because it's the exact opposite. It's this Aeon pair relationship that allows them the pair of opposites relationship. So they see this highly masculine man with this highly feminine female woman. And those pairs come together because at soul level, what are they doing? That's what they're there for. They're here to create together. And that's why we talk about the soul polarity is so important to understand who you are. Who are you on the inside? What kind of soul polarity do you have? What kind of a partner are you looking for? What partner would serve your soul? What partner would be so helpful to you in your soul that it would be all the structure that you need? Or in the female lens, like if you're a man, what do you need to bring into your life, so that your life is fulfilled? And I kind of think about that. And you think of like the typical bachelor apartment, and they have their TV, and they have their whole electronic setup, and they have this black leather chair, it's a gaming chair. They've got their kitchen, like that's it. Like that's their whole apartment. And there isn't any female influence in there for the decor and the beauty and the flow and to make it warm and friendly and inviting. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that in his life. And he needs the female soul to come in and make his life complete. And we come together. We make our lives complete together. It isn't female completing the male life, because that's not that. The male is more important than the female. And actually, in galactic astrology, the important one is the womb, because the womb carries the data. It carries all sorts of data, all sorts of potential, and that's what that's what those babies are cooking in. So the womb is really, really important, and that's what the galactic astrology follows. It follows the womb instead of following the DNA of the male soul. It's following the female, because that's where the important data is stored. It's stored in the womb. So male soul polarity. So female soul polarity is the lens of others. Now, when you are thinking about how do I see others, now what would that be? What would that look like in a female? So the female with the female soul hive with the pair to the Aeon pair male is the female. And it would be the highly feminine, the highly female, has the female characteristics. So that's an understanding of the flow, and that's everything else. It's everything else that's not structural. It's the creative, the decor, the beauty, the good stuff. Like I said, the flow. These are the things that the female soul provides, where the male soul provides structure, support, protection, structural. That's why the male souls with those frequencies, they want to work. They are often blue collar workers, because those are self-starters. Like they can start and complete a profession all on their own because they want to do it. Yes, Big Kitty, you see that it's time. Well, you're just going to have to hop up and not yell. Okay. And so we see the male souls able to process and to protect and to provide. And that's the purpose of the male soul. And the male soul needs to understand that they're here to protect and provide. Some don't. Some have been in different environments, and they don't know what they're here to do. They're here to learn that. And hopefully they're here to learn that with their partner, with their wife in their Aeon pair wife, in a safe, loving relationship where you're here to learn and grow together, where you're learning all these new patterns, new behaviors, new emotions, because you're able to open up emotions for him. You are able to open up emotions for this pillar, this man, that he can't open up by himself. He can't get into those emotions by himself without you. So when you go away, those emotions are gone. That field of emotions doesn't exist for him anymore. And he has to try and get it back from where it was. So he's trying to figure out, what am I missing? And it's you. It's you that he is missing. It's you that he's wanting to be around and be with. And because he's wanting to be the way that he feels when he's around you. He likes the emotional frequencies that you bring to him, even though you might fight. There's a lot of drama, trauma, pain, and suffering that needs to be alleviated from those Aeon pair relationships, because there's a lot of trauma that has to be released and removed. But everything that comes together is so important. And everything that comes together is always working on finding the way to be together, because they will never be apart. They are going to fight until kingdom come if that's what it has to be, but they will always find a way to be together and to find their way back to each other. These are the pairs that are never going to leave each other no matter how bad it gets, but they've got to learn how to treat each other better, and they have to learn how to process their information in a little bit different way, because the male soul is processing through lens of self, and the female soul doesn't know or understand that's how he's processing, and she thinks that the male soul can access and emit the same emotions that she can. It's false. He cannot. He does not have access to the same emotions. He doesn't have access. Now, if you want a man to have access to those emotions, he's going to need to have female on the inside. He's going to need to have 2 or more female souls on the inside to really be able to access those female type of emotions that you want him to access. Not all men can access the same emotions that women can. They just can't. They don't have the ability, they don't have the emotional frequency, and they don't have the ability to emit all of those emotions unless they are in your presence. Weird, right? But that's what souls do. We are here in pairs. All of us are here in pairs, and we came to do these things together. Now you might think like, oh, what? No, my man's out. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I gotcha. I understand, and I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. Because we don't always understand their purpose within sometimes our lives, because they come off so masculine, and you're like, do you even like me? Do you like me? Yes. Oh my gosh, you do. But you don't have, he doesn't have the ways to express that maybe appropriately. He has to learn that, and he has to learn that from you over the course of your relationship. You know, and that's hard for some people. That's hard for some women. But are you here for that? You know, are you willing to look at the red flags and say, you know what, that's a red flag. I see it. I see that red flag. I'm going to set my boundary here, but I'm going to understand that this is a red flag that I can tolerate, I can deal with. Everything that I've been given in my astrology gives me something to be able to tolerate and deal with everything that you're doing and not doing, and I'm going to be okay, and I'm going to be able to make it happen in this way, and that's how we can make it happen. So we can do all these things, but you have to, you know, we all have to learn how we're treating our partner. What are we expecting from our partner? Do they have this ability? Are they this person? Or are you, is somebody in your ear saying, yeah, well, my husband does this. Why doesn't your husband do that? That's right, Big Kitty. See, even she knows. That's not a thing. Your husbands have different astrology. They can't complete the same actions the same. I know, it's crazy. They can't complete the same actions the same. They can't do things the same as other people, and other men, and especially other women. They don't have the same emotions as other women, and they're also not going to be able to handle the biggest height of your female emotions. It's not for them. Those female emotions are for females, and those are for women. That's for a female soul. That's not for anything that is about, I just lost my place in my head. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. We have been chatting for apparently too long, because Snow let me know I'm at my cutoff time. Thank you very much. But we will continue this conversation. This is, we've got a lot of data to cover. I have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of topics to bring up. We've got cosmic numerology coming up. We've got the solar calendar in addition to all the galactic astrology. We have all sorts of things to discuss, talk about. Please make sure to reach out if you've got any questions, because we are just getting going. That's right, Big Kitty, we're just getting going. You can find my podcast on Spotify, and as always, you can locate me on TikTok Pinterest, and Instagram at Astro Catalyst. Have a good one.